So we are going with the example of just now I have given the example of ATM system. Okay, ATM system is the best example for the transaction flow. So by this you know that how the transaction is flowing in the transaction flowing. Okay, what the steps you are performing in that. So we will go, that is the flow of transaction. Okay, now we will go with the diagrammatic way. Okay, previous class we have go with the one diagram, and now we have the one of the diagrams of the transaction flow. Okay, so look at the first diagram, guys. So in this so look at this first diagram. Yes, so in this first diagram we have the input, right? Input next it is going, the flow is next S, then A, B, A, S, B, S, C, S. That this is showing the flow of thing. Okay, flow of the procedure, how the process is performing in that system. It is showing. So here A, B, C, D, E represent as a different processor. Okay, and the S is represent as a decision or a junction. So here what you are taking is as a decision. Okay, decision or a junction. Is it representing as a decision or a junction, and the ABC is a represent, ABCD is as a represent as a processor. Okay, first the transaction enters into the input, and then the process pass to the process A, and then pass to the process B, and the process B may pass to either A or a process C. So here in this diagram you are giving the input. Okay, it visible to you guys? Hello, it visible? Say something. Hello, hello, anyone is there? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. So look at here. So you're giving the input over here. Okay, it is transferring, it is going to the processing from the S, and then it is going to the A. Okay, then after going to A, it is going to then B. Okay, then it is going to the B. After B, it will be go with, it may be either go with S, or it may be continue as a C. So this will be process will be occur. Okay, this process will be occur. Okay, in this diagram. So in the process passing to the process A and then passing to the process B, the result of a process B may be passing to either A or a B. So in the result of the process B, it will be passed to either A or either C. So it is depend upon this decision. Okay, the decision of this process B. Okay, but in the process A, it is passing to the process B. In the process B, it may be passing to the A, or it may be passing to the C. So the transaction then go to the process C, then either it may be process D or process E. Okay, it will be, if the transaction is passes to the C, it may be either go to the D or E. So anyone statement it will be go, if anyone process it will be selected. It may be go with the D process. If they go with the D process, then we will get the output as output from the D process. If it is going from the E process, we are getting the output from the E process. So it is showing this diagram is showing you that flow of transaction flow. So how the transaction is flowing. Okay, it will be showing the behavior of your system. It will be representing the system behavior. Okay, so this is the example of your transaction flow. Okay, next we have the multi-transaction flow. Okay, look at this, the multi-transaction flow. Like, So in the multi-transaction flow, what is happening is where the transaction flow represented by different processors. Just we have given the different processor names in the A, B, C, D, E, and the here we are here disk and the type. Okay, read and write in the various combination. No need to represent the processor in the A, B, C, D order. Okay, so there is no requirement is you can go with the ABCD only, so you can go with the any kind of disk or tab, you can go with that thing. Okay, so here it is from the 1 it is passing to the 3. Okay, next it is going to the 3 to 1. So look at this diagram, guys. So do all. Okay, disk reading, so do CS, so typewriting, do new CS, and the disk writer right. So we are going like this. So there is no need to go with the process's name ABCD. Okay, here disk and the tab, read and write in the various component. No need to represent the processor in the ABCD order only. So execution schedule or OS disk. So look at this another example, guys. So here we have the one figure. So look at this figure showing the dynamic represent of the system control structure. So look at this diagram. Here there are a different processor. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, here we have the 5 processor and the link which represent the processor queries. So and the disappear queries, the first place of the token on this input query. So here we have the first input query. So first we have the input. Hello C4. C4. Hello C4. Okay. So you look at here, you have this 5 processor, that is ABCDEFG, and it is linking to the our system, our operating system. Okay, so now it is having we are having the front end and the output. So here we are giving the input query, and it will be processing from this stages. This is processing from this stages, and we will get the output from that table. So here what happening means, here where the execution schedule disappear. Okay, example the token and the sending the processor A. When the processor A is finished the processing, it's sent back to the execution schedule. Okay, if the processor if the transaction is sending to the process A, then the processor A is finished the processing, it is sent back to the execution schedule. And now the execution schedule examine the token and send into the next processor. So it will send to the next processor. So here what happening is, so here what you are doing is, if the processor is processing it is processing, and then it is transferring to the examination, and it will check that whether it is processing the properly or not. So it will be check the examination schedule, examine the token. Okay, it will check and send it to the next processor, and it will send to the next processor, that is B. And the processor B is same, it will be do the processing. It will, after finishing the processing in the B process, then it will be sent to the examination. So in that the process is going on doing the processor. Okay, the next processor is on the information stored in the token. The processor is represented until we get the result. So in the figure we are similar to the various transaction flows. So here what happening means, for example, I will give the example of ATM system. So here in the ATM system, so in the ATM system, what you are doing is, for example, this figure is your ATM system. Okay, ATM machine. So you're inserting the card. Okay, in the inserting card, when you are inserting the card in the machine, okay, this is your machine. So if you are inserting a card in this machine, you are selecting the any one option, right? This option you have selected, okay, it will go to the bank background bank, then it will check that your card is valid or not, then it will go to the it is valid card, okay, then it will be processed to the next level. If your card is valid, then it is go to the withdraw the amount, or you can check the balance or anything. So here if you are inserting the amount, if you want to withdraw the amount, you are inserting the amount, that amount will be go to the bank, and bank will be checked that if amount is valid amount or not. If the valid amount is there, it will be withdraw your amount. Otherwise, what happens means it will be send you message that that is invalid amount. If you want to check the balance of in the system, so if you want to check the balance, it will be, you will send the request to the banker to bank check the balance. So it will be displayed that this amount is available in your account, so it will be displayed over here. So this is the procedure will be followed, okay. So one process after completion, till what time it will be happen is in the finishing of your performance, in the end of the query. So till that time it will be go on, doing that processing, okay. The processing will be repeatedly until we will get the result. So this process will be going on repeating, so until we will get the result, okay. Till that time, if you the result, it may be for you, the result is to for checking the balance. Till here it will the output of your query. So here it will be stop your processing, so you will get the output of your system. So are you clear with this, guys? Hello, are you clear with this? So this is the three examples of your transaction flow graph, okay. So now we are clear with this or not, guys? What is the transaction flow? So now we have the next topic is the complications. In this complications, what is the complication? Is means because what we are doing is we are identify in the same case the transaction has been unique identification for the time they are creating to the time therefore completion, okay. So in what the complication times they are taking, we will go with the thing, okay. Because of the software verification difficulty to the test the transaction execution, so transaction can be given, okay, some kind of things, okay. Transaction are given into the three forms, okay. That is to check the whether the birth to the new transaction, to check the whether we are getting new birth of new transaction or not. So we are going to check in this complication. So in this complications we have the we have three things, okay. Decision, meiosis, mitosis. So in this, what you have the figures of these things. So look at the thing. One second, guys. So okay. So our next topic is complication. Okay, complication is the transaction has been unique identification for the time they are creating to the timing they are completing. Okay, at what time what they are taking the time, we are checking in the complications. Okay, so in the many system, the transaction can give the but to the other, and the transaction can also merge. So in the so many country and so many situation in so many systems, what happening is that they will create a new but to the transaction. Okay, and it will be merged the transaction. So this may be happened in the transaction program. To identify the things, to we are going with this type thing. Okay, for birthing the transaction, for birth there are three different possibility. Okay, that for of a decision symbols or a note. Okay, with the two or more output links. Okay, so in this and this time, but we have three types: decisions, biases, and matrices. So in this, what happening means the transaction, the possibility of merging, possibility of in this birth, it is a possibility of a new link or a new node will be added. Okay, new node may be added in this link. Okay, so you have to you will take a decision over here. Okay, we will check in this section. So in the birth. So in the complication, what you're doing because of the software verification difficulty, so to test the transaction execution, some transaction can be give a birth to check whether the birth is new transaction or not. To check that the transaction having the new transaction or not, we are checking that we are going with the birth. Okay, so in the transaction, two transaction or a more transaction are merged, giving a birth to a single transaction. Okay, here what happening means the two transaction or the more transaction merge or give a birth to the single transaction. A new transaction are will be merged to the two transaction. So when this happen means it is to execution, it will be happen when the execution will be occurred. So while performing the execution, this kind of problems will be occur. So what kind of problems when it will be occur means transaction can give a birth to other. Okay, and transaction can also merge it. Okay, so this two situation will be occur while executing the program. Okay, what the things will be occur in the while execution of program is birth, or it may be a birth to the or merge. Okay, so these two situation will be occur while executing the program. Okay, the two transaction or the more transaction will be merged. Okay, two transaction or the more transaction will be merged or give a birth to the single transaction. So it will be it may be give the birth to the single transaction, or it may be merged to the transaction. It will be happen in the system execution while doing the system execution. So identify this type of problems. To identify to overcome with these things, we are going with these things. Okay, first is birth and the merge. In the birth we have the decision. This one is the decision. Okay, biases and mitosis. Okay, so in this, look at this diagram. So look at this flow graph. Just now I have said you that in the decision should be taken whether it may be a T1 or a T2. Only one transaction executed one time. So in this diagram, look at this. So we have the one, okay, alternative 1 and alternative 2. So here the process is processing thing, and it will giving the birth to the new process, and it will be only one process, one will be executed. It may be this one, or it may be this one, or it may be this one. Any one process will be executed at a time. So one time one process will be executing the decision thing. In the next is biases. What we mean, parent transfers the birth to the daughter. Okay, here parent will be transferred to the birth to the to the daughter. Okay, daughter transaction at the same time, both the transaction execute at the same time. In this basis, what happening is the both the transaction can be executed at time. So here the parents will be give the birth to the daughter, and the daughter and the parents can be executed at the same time. This is the basis. Okay, in the next we have the parent and the daughter. So in this situation, both the parent and the daughter can be executed, continue the execution. Okay, in the two daughters continued the execution. Here the two daughter can be continued the execution in this meiosis. So this is the difference between the bursts. So in the first thing what you are doing is, in the decision only one can be executed. Okay, only one transaction can be done. Okay, only one can be executed at one time. So in the second thing, the parents is giving the birth to the daughter, and the parent and birth both can execute it at the same time. And the notice in this situation, what happens is the parents is giving the birth to the two daughters, and the two daughters is executed. They can continue the execution. They can do the execution continue. Okay, so this will be happen in the birth. Okay, next we have the merge. In the merge thing, what they are doing, we have the junction. Okay, and then we have the junction. So in this merge, we are what you are doing is transaction flow junction point trouble sum, and the transfer of the flow split it. Okay, and they are, so in this what you are doing is they are merging the things. Okay, they are merging the things into the single thing. Okay, and what is the this time of we are facing some kind of problem. So we have the three types of junction in the merging. So okay, the first one is ordinary junction and absorption junction and conjunction junction. In this junction, what happening is ordinary junction is similar to the junction in the control flow graph. So it is similar to the control flow graphs, and the transaction can arrive either on the one link or the other. So in the path one, look at the diagram. In the path one and path two, they are merging and they are continuously performing the execution. Okay, same like a control flow graph. And the next we have the next thing we have the T1 and T2, right? Okay, predict and query. So in this what happening is, here it is transferring to the one and other. So in this section what we are doing is, in the predicting transaction observe the predictor and the so if the identifying will be occur, so anyone can be executed in this situation. Okay, so okay, predictor it is observe the query. Okay, query transaction, the query goes by the predictor, returns to the identifier. So here they will be merged. So predictor will be merged the query, and then it will be execute the for performance. And next we have the conjunction data. The two parents can transfer the merge to the new daughter. So they are merging and they are creating as a new daughter, and they will be executed continue performance. The continuational execution will be occur over here. So in this first transaction, what happening means, in order to it is similar like a junction. Okay, in the control flow graph, and the transaction can be arrive either on the on one link or other. So here it will be transaction will be arrive in only either on the one link, okay, or others. So here in the absolution transaction, it will be observing the query, and it will be observing the query, and it will be giving the execution. In the both in the third junction, in the what they are doing, the both the parent class are merging, and it will giving the birth to the daughter. So we have no problem with ordinating decision or a conjunction. So it may be a decision or a and junction will be done in this thing. Okay, in the birth we have the okay. So in this situation, we can find the more kind of bugs, and it will be helpful for the reduce the things. The common problems are lost the daughters. Okay, wrong flow depth, okay, and the unexpected thing will be happened in this situation. So it will be helpful to reduce the bugs, okay. So this will be happened in the execution of program. So next we have the data flow testing technology. So in the data flow testing technology we have, okay, first just to go with this presentation, guys. Only 29 members. So here it was, here we don't having the example of the diagrams I've taken from the other notes. So just we have this thing, go with this. So okay, we will finish this topic also. Are you clear with this transaction things, guys? Nothing is there in the first diagram of here, but anyone, it will be a decision, so anyone will be selected, okay. Only one can be executed, okay. It may be either first one, or it may be a second one. So anyone can be executed in the first thing, okay. So this is known as a decision point of the transaction. So true transaction it will be identified as an alternative one and alternative having the different identifier at the same identifier. So what happens is, so it will be executed. It will be executed any one of them. Okay. Then the next what happening is, and here the parents and here the parent transaction give a birth to the two new transactions. Okay. So here in the, if they are providing the two new transaction, in the two transaction they can be executed at the same time. Okay. And then third one we have the two transaction. The parent is giving the birth to the two new transaction. So to into two new transaction, what happening is we can easily, so in this two transaction, we can execute any one of the both the transaction can be executed at the same time. Okay, the parent transaction give a birth to the two new transaction. In that two transaction have the same or a different identify, and the parent transaction is destroyed. This is called the metos. Okay, so in this previously in the metos we have the we have give the execution. So in that one transaction has been the same identifier as a parent, and the other transaction having the different identity, that is daughter. It is called the biosis. So in this what happens means, in the parent transaction having the same identification and the daughter transaction having the different identification. So that time it will call the biosis. In the figure in the third figure, so we have the both the transaction. Okay, we are giving the new two transaction. In the two transaction, daughter having the same or different identification, and the same, and the parent transaction is destroyed. Okay, so in this what happened is both they both can end it. executed. So in that they have the same identifying or a different identifier. So that time it will be the parent transaction is destroyed. It's called the mitosis. So next we have what is there in the merging is nothing but that the two transactions are merging at the nodes and giving birth to the same or a different identification. So they are merging as single component, and two parts are merging, and it is giving to the birth to the new identification or a different identification. It will be give the new or a different identification to that component. So now we will go with another topic that is called the transaction flow testing techniques. So in this transaction flow testing technique, we have 4 types. Okay. So in this transaction flow testing technique, we have 4 things. I think getting the transaction flow. Okay. Inspection, review, and the walkthrough, path selection, path sensitization, path instructions. Okay. So first we will go with the getting the transaction flow. Okay. In the getting the transaction flow, nothing but the complication system that process the at least the different component transaction should be represent the transaction flow or a equivalent. So transaction flow are likely the control flow graphs, and the consequence will should be explained to the have the increasing level to determine. Here the complication system represent by the transaction flow. Okay. It check the mapping to the program. Okay, it check the mapping to the program. The transaction are done in the designing process. Okay, the transaction will be done in the designing process, and it will be checked. It will be map into the program. Okay, it will be map the program. So do the transaction flow means here the complication system represent by the transaction flow. Okay, it can be mapped into the program. Okay, it can be mapped into the program. The transaction are done in the design phases. Okay, transaction is done into the design phases. So in that we have the different types of things. Okay, testing database, executions, everything. Okay, so here we will look about that. So next we have the inspection, review, and walking through. In the inspection is nothing but a review. Inspection is nothing but a formal review. Okay, it is a review is conducting while the execution a task. Then it is called the inspection. So inspection when the execution of task is performing, that time you are doing the inspection. Okay, in this inspection what you are doing is inspection are done to identify the errors in the program. So inspection will be done to identify the program's errors. Okay, in inspection the what they will do means it will be discussed discuss the problem statements. Okay, it will be discuss the problem statements, and it will be do inspection on it. Okay, here we will get the review. Okay, and the flow of your data. Okay, the flow of your data, flow transaction flow. Okay, so in this thing what it will be happen means, so It will be just take the formal review, guys. It will, this formal review is conducted while executing the task. Okay, when the execution will be occur, that a formal review will take occur, and formal review will be taken. That time is it is called the inspection. Okay, inspection will be are used to identify the errors in the program. For example, checking the system syntax error, for checking the system syntax error, referring the programs. Okay, so to check the compiling code. Okay, reference code. So sensitizing path. Okay, inspection. Okay, comparing for graph. So this will be checked into the inspection time. Okay, this will be done in the inspection time. So they will check they will identify the errors in the inspection time. Okay, next we have the review. In the review is nothing but the examining or a checking a project related uses and the process related work is in the review. So in this what happening is it will be check the project related work. Okay, it will give the project related work. Okay, in the review we have the examining. Review is nothing but a examining, guys. Examining is checking by checking, cross checking. It will be shown and it will be done in the review section. Okay, cross checking will be done into the review checking review thing. Okay, in the it is examination of a project related. Okay, and the process related work. Project related work and the process related work will be checked, cross check in the review. Is called the review. Okay, review is nothing but the examining of a project related work and the process related work is called the review. Okay, review are done to identify the error in the symmetric documents. So in the review work will be done into the symmetric document. It will review is checked to identify the semi document, but inspection is checked to identify the errors in the program. So inspection is done to identify the program error. Okay, and the review is done to identify the error in the documentation. Okay, so for example, review will be happen in the review in the planning. Okay, review in the documentation. Okay, documentation information. Okay, preparing for the review meeting. Okay, so preparing for the review meeting, object of a review meeting. So we will taking the object of the review meeting and taking from talking about a different process. What any new things will be added or the different process will be done into that. We will going with that taking a different process. Okay, and the review schedules. So in that we will do the review schedules in the system. Okay, this is the examples of the review. Okay, review is the review planning and review documentation information. We are checking the documentation information, preparing for the review meetings, so objecting of a review meetings, taking a different processor or review schedules will be done in this review meeting. Okay, next we have the walking through. In the walking through means transaction section or a knowledge transaction section. Okay, about the processor or the techniques in contains that called the process through. Okay, no sorry, walk through. So walkthrough is a training section. Okay, or a knowledge transforming section. Okay, it will walkthrough is a training section or a knowledge transaction section. Okay, so it is giving the name as a K2. Okay, about the process or the transaction. Okay, in this condition walking through you should discuss the inner transaction type of account from 98 to 99%. Okay, of the transaction. The system is a system processor. Okay, so here what the decision we are doing is it is actually discussing about the transaction section or a knowledge transferring. Okay, knowledge transferring. Okay, it will be discussed in the as a it will be it is enough transaction types of accounts from the 98 to 99% of the transaction of the system is expected to the process. Okay, discuss the path through flow the functional rather than the technical terms. Okay, path flow through the through the functional rather than the technical terms. Okay, asking the designer to relieve the every flow of the specification and to show how the transaction occurring directly or indirectly flow from the requirement. Okay, the transaction, how it's flowing directly or not indirectly, we will asking to the designer of your requirement. Okay, about your requirement. So tomorrow we have the lab, guys. In that lab we have to go with manual, guys. So complete your manual. I will check it tomorrow. Okay. So if I'm calling any number, so they have to show the manual. So in the last class we have, in the previous, we have learned, we are going with the languages, C languages, test cases, right? So I wrote down the test cases in the lab manual. So I will check it tomorrow. Okay, give me the attendance, guys. Okay, 16 series. 16 series. 17 series. 17 series.
556 marks.